Fear is sneaky. It disguises itself as logic, as practicality, as self-preservation. It whispers in your ear that now isn't the right time, that you need to focus on yourself a little longer, that love will come when the universe decides you're ready. And so you wait. You hesitate before approaching someone you're attracted to. You hold back from being fully vulnerable. You convince yourself that a connection that excites you is somehow too risky, too soon. But what if I told you that fear is running the show? That your love life isn't being dictated by fate or timing, but by your own hesitation to step forward. We get in our own way in love because we cling to the illusion that staying still is safe. We think, if I don't try, I won't fail. If I don't invest, I won't lose. If I don't open up, I won't get hurt. And yet, that's the biggest lie of all. Because standing still isn't safe. It's just another way of guaranteeing that nothing will change. Think about it. How many times have you let an opportunity slip by because you were too busy over? How many times have you replayed a conversation in your head, wishing you'd said something bolder, something real? How many times have you walked away from someone incredible because your mind made up a reason why it wasn't the right time? We love the idea of love, but we're terrified of what it actually demands from us. It demands that we take a risk, that we expose parts of ourselves we're not even sure we're ready to show, that we allow someone else in without a guarantee that they'll stay. And that's where the real challenge is. Not in finding love, but in making sure that when it arrives, we don't run from it. I've seen it time and time again. People who are intelligent, ambitious, kind, and attractive, but who unknowingly push love away because they don't trust themselves to handle it. Maybe you've been hurt before. Maybe someone left when you thought they never would. Maybe you've told yourself you're better off alone than risking another heartbreak. I get it. Pain leaves scars. But those scars are not meant to be walls. They're meant to be reminders of what you've survived, not reasons to stop trying. When we allow fear to be the architect of our love life, we end up constructing barriers instead of bridges. We make excuses instead of making connections. And before we know it, we're sitting in the exact same place, wondering why love hasn't found us yet. Here's the truth. Love doesn't find you. You find it. And that doesn't mean forcing it or chasing it desperately. It means showing up. It means putting yourself in situations where connections can happen. It means recognizing when you're about to self-sabotage and choosing a different path. It means being willing to say, yes, I'm afraid, but I refuse to let that stop me. Because confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision that something is more important than fear. So what does this look like in practice? It means sending the message instead of waiting for the perfect moment. It means accepting the compliment instead of dismissing it. It means allowing yourself to enjoy a conversation instead of immediately searching for reasons why it won't work. It means walking into a room and choosing curiosity over self-consciousness. It means recognizing that rejection isn't a reflection of your worth. It's just a moment, a step, a necessary part of the process. The biggest mistake people make is thinking they need to feel ready before they take action. But the truth is, you'll never feel ready. Confidence doesn't come before action, it comes because of action. And here's where things really shift. The moment you stop giving fear the authority to dictate your choices, your love life changes. Not because you suddenly become a different person, but because you start allowing yourself to be seen. You stop apologizing for wanting love. You stop pretending you're fine being alone when deep down you crave connection. You stop waiting for the perfect person to come and break down your walls, and instead, you start opening the door yourself. That's when real love happens. Not when you're standing still, waiting, but when you're moving forward, open, engaged, and willing to experience something real, even if there are no guarantees. So if you're waiting for a sign that it's time to stop letting fear run the show, here it is. Love is not something that happens to the lucky ones. It's something that happens to those who are willing to be bold enough to let it in. Stop hesitating. Stop overthinking. Start living in a way that invites love. instead of avoids it. Because the greatest risk isn't in trying and failing. The greatest risk is looking back one day and realizing that fear kept you from ever really trying at all. So many people are stuck in their love lives because they're chasing an idea, not a person. We create these mental checklists: tall, confident, ambitious, has a great sense of humor, loves the same music, texts back within 5 minutes, shares my taste in food, has never made a mistake in their life. And then we wonder why we feel disappointed when we meet someone who doesn't tick every box. But here's the thing: attraction isn't a shopping list. Love isn't about assembling the perfect puzzle pieces. It's about connection, about how someone makes you feel, about the space you create together. When you fixate on an ideal, you blind yourself to real possibilities. You meet someone amazing, but they're not exactly what you imagined, so you dismiss them. You go on dates, and instead of enjoying the moment, you're scanning for flaws. Does this person fit the image I had in my head? And if they don't, you start pulling away, convinced that settling for anything less than perfection is a mistake. But perfection is an illusion. The truth is, no one is going to match every single expectation you've created. And if they did, you'd probably get bored. Because the people who truly impact us, the ones who make our hearts race and our lives richer, are rarely the ones we predicted. Think about the last time you met someone who surprised you. Maybe they weren't your usual type. Maybe they didn't look or act exactly how you expected, but something about them drew you in. There was an energy, a dynamic, an ease in conversation that made you forget about your so-called list. That feeling, that spark, isn't found on paper. It's found in the way two people interact, in the depth of their connection, in the way they make each other feel seen, understood, and excited about life. And that only happens when you allow yourself to be open. It's funny, people say they want love, but they set up roadblocks at every turn. I can't date someone younger. They have to have a certain job. If they don't share my exact taste in movies, it'll never work. But what if the love of your life is someone you would have dismissed in a different mindset? What if they show up in a way that challenges your expectations? Are you really going to push them away because they don't fit neatly into a box? Now, this isn't about lowering your standards. It's about shifting your focus. Instead of asking, do they match my checklist? Ask, how do they make me feel? Do they make you feel safe? Do they make you laugh? Do they challenge you in a way that excites you? Do you feel like your best self when you're around them? These are the things that matter. Not the height, not the profession, not the minor details you think define attraction. Because when you strip all that away, what you're left with is the experience of being with that person. And that's what love is built on. The happiest couples aren't together because they checked off every box. They're together because they built something deeper. They focused on shared values, on mutual respect, on a connection that made them want to keep choosing each other every day. And that doesn't happen through a perfect resume. It happens through presence, through curiosity, through seeing someone for who they really are, not who you expected them to be. The more attached you are to an idea of love, the more likely you are to sabotage real opportunities. You meet someone incredible, but because they don't fit a preconceived notion, you hesitate. You convince yourself that there's someone better out there, someone who will be everything you dreamed of. But here's the brutal truth. If you keep looking for something that only exists in your imagination, you'll stay in your imagination. You'll stay single, chasing something that isn't real, while real, flawed, wonderful love passes you by. When you let go of the checklist, you give yourself permission to experience something real. You give people a chance to surprise you. You open yourself up to connections that may not be what you expected, but might be exactly what you need. And isn't that what love is supposed to be? Not predictable, not prepackaged, but something organic, something alive, something that unfolds in its own messy, beautiful way. The moment you stop looking for perfect is the moment you start finding love. Instead of obsessing over what you want, shift your focus to what you bring to the table. See, most people approach love like they're ordering from a menu. They've got a list: someone confident, someone emotionally available, someone adventurous, ambitious, kind, funny, whatever it is. But the real question is, if that person showed up right now, would they choose you? Are you the kind of person that would make them stop in their tracks and think, wow, this is someone I want to invest in? That's the hard part. Because the truth is, we all have this idea of what we deserve, but we don't always take an honest look at whether we're living up to the same standards we set for others. If you want someone emotionally available, are you emotionally available? If you want someone confident, are you bringing confidence into your own life? If you want someone who takes care of themselves, are you showing up in your best form physically, emotionally, and mentally? The way we present ourselves to the world reflects what we're likely to attract. And too often, people go through life thinking they need to find the perfect person, instead of realizing that they need to become the person who naturally attracts the kind of relationship they want. This isn't about perfection. No one has it all figured out. But there's a difference between wanting love and actually being ready for it. Readiness means you're working on your self-worth, your self-care, your ability to communicate, and your ability to receive love. A lot of people don't realize how much they subconsciously push love away because deep down they don't believe they're worthy of it. And if you don't believe you're worthy, you'll always settle for less. You'll accept mixed signals. You'll chase people who don't choose you fully. You'll mistake temporary chemistry for deep connection. And you'll wonder why love never seems to work out the way you hope it will. So the real work isn't about fixing others or waiting for someone to come along and prove they're good enough. The real work is about turning the mirror on yourself and asking, what energy am I bringing to the table? Are you carrying resentment from past relationships? Are you holding on to limiting beliefs about love that tell you you'll never find it, or that all the good ones are taken? Are you showing up in your life with passion, with drive, with joy? Because let me tell you, people can feel that. The most attractive quality in a person isn't their looks, their status, or even how charming they are. It's their energy. It's how they make people feel when they walk into a room. If you radiate the kind of energy that makes people feel safe, inspired, and excited to be around you, you won't have to chase love. Love will find you. And a big part of this is knowing who you are outside of a relationship. Too many people define their worth based on whether they're wanted by someone else. They look for love to complete them instead of complement them. But love isn't about filling a void, it's about sharing a full life with someone else. The most attractive people are the ones who have a life they love, with or without a relationship. They have hobbies, passions, friendships, goals. They don't make a partner their entire world because they are their own world. And that kind of confidence is magnetic. That's why desperation never works. We've all seen it: people who cling too fast, who need constant reassurance, who lose them the moment they start dating someone. That kind of energy repels more than it attracts. Because deep down, we all want to be with someone who wants us, not someone who needs us to feel whole. The more you cultivate your own sense of happiness, the less you'll tolerate relationships that drain you. The stronger your self-respect, the quicker you'll walk away from anything that doesn't align with what you deserve. And that, ironically, makes people respect you more. When you don't need someone to choose you, you become the kind of person people want to choose. But it takes work. It takes being intentional about how you grow. It means asking yourself the tough questions. Am I emotionally mature? Can I handle conflict in a healthy way? Do I communicate my needs without fear of pushing someone away? Because love isn't just about attraction. It's about being able to sustain a deep connection when the honeymoon phase wears off. And that requires skills. Relationship skills. Emotional intelligence. The ability to give and receive love without self-sabotage. If you've ever found yourself pushing good people away or choosing the wrong ones over and over again, that's a sign there's inner work to do. And that's okay. We all have patterns we need to break. But awareness is the first step. Once you see it, you can change it. And here's the thing. The best relationships don't happen when you're desperate for one. They happen when you're at peace with yourself. When you're living your life fully. When you're so deeply connected to your own happiness that a relationship becomes a bonus, not a necessity. That's when you attract the right kind of love, because it's coming from a place of abundance, not lack. So the question isn't, when will I find love? The question is, Am I living in a way that makes love inevitable? When you do the work to become the best version of yourself, you don't have to chase connection. You become the kind of person that the right relationship naturally gravitates toward. And when that happens, you'll realize love was never something you had to find. It was something you had to create within yourself first. Confidence isn't about being the loudest person in the room. It's not about forcing yourself to be someone you're not, memorizing pickup lines or pretending to have it all figured out. It's about something far simpler: being comfortable in your own skin. When you truly own who you are, people feel that energy. They're drawn to it. Because confidence isn't something you say, it's something you show. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly noticed someone, not because they were the most attractive person there, not because they were the loudest, but because there was something about them, a presence, an energy? It's not something you can fake, and yet so many people try. They overcompensate with bravado, with forced jokes, with trying too hard to be interesting. But the truth is, being magnetic isn't about effort, it's about ease. When you're relaxed, when you're comfortable in your own skin, when you're fully present, you create an atmosphere that makes other people feel the same way. And that's the secret. People aren't attracted to perfection. They're attracted to how you make them feel. And nothing makes someone feel more at ease than being around someone who is at ease with themselves. Now, here's the problem most people face when it comes to presence: they're stuck in their own heads. Instead of being in the moment, they're performing. They're calculating their next move, wondering if they're saying the right thing, if they're coming across well, if the person across from them likes them. And when your mind is occupied with those thoughts, you're no longer present. You're not really listening. You're not really engaged, and people feel that. The most attractive people aren't the ones constantly trying to impress. They're the ones who are simply there. They listen. They engage. They make you feel like in that moment, nothing else matters. Think about the last time you had a conversation with someone who made you feel truly seen. They weren't staring at their phone. They weren't glancing around the room looking for someone better to talk to. They were there with you, fully. That's magnetic. And the good news? It's something you can cultivate. One of the quickest ways to develop this kind of presence is to start paying attention to your body language. The way you hold yourself speaks before you even say a word. Are you slouched over, arms crossed, giving off a closed-off energy? Or are you standing tall, open, relaxed? When you walk into a room, do you hesitate at the door, scanning nervously, or do you step in with intention, as if you belong there? Because the moment you start carrying yourself like you belong, people will start believing it too. Eye contact is another game changer. Not in a creepy, staring into their soul kind of way, but in a way that makes someone feel like they matter. When you're talking to someone, really look at them. Hold their gaze just a little longer than you normally would. Most people break eye contact too soon because they're nervous. They look away, they fidget, they laugh awkwardly to fill the silence. But confidence comes from being able to hold that space, to allow silence, to let things breathe, to not feel the need to constantly do something to earn the other person's attention. And then there's your energy. Because energy is contagious. Ever notice how some people just light up a room? It's not because they're the best looking or the funniest. It's because they bring an energy that lifts people up. They smile. They make people feel good. They're expressive. They use their hands when they talk. They're animated. They give energy rather than waiting for it to be given to them. And that right there is the biggest mistake most people make when it comes to attraction. They wait. They wait for someone else to make them feel comfortable before they relax. They wait for someone else to make them laugh before they loosen up. They wait for someone else to like them before they decide to be their best self. But attraction doesn't work that way. You have to bring the energy you want to attract. The fastest way to shift your presence is to shift your focus. Instead of walking into a room thinking, how do I look? Am I doing this right? Walk in thinking, how can I make someone else feel amazing tonight? Because the moment you stop making it about you, you become infinitely more attractive. People love being around those who make them feel good, who are genuinely curious about them, who ask great questions, who listen, who make them feel like the most interesting person in the world. If you can master that, you'll never have to try to impress anyone again. And let's talk about humor, because humor is one of the quickest ways to show confidence. Not in the sense that you have to be a stand-up comedian, but in the sense that you can be playful, that you don't take yourself too seriously. When you can tease someone in a fun, light-hearted way, when you can laugh at yourself, when you can create a moment that feels spontaneous and alive, that's attractive. And again, this isn't about trying to be funny. It's about allowing yourself to relax enough that your natural wit and personality can shine through. Here's the truth. Confidence isn't something you get. It's something you practice. No one is born with it. Every person you've ever met who exudes presence, who walks into a room and commands attention, who makes people feel drawn to them, they built that. They worked on it. They showed up again and again, even when they felt awkward. They challenged themselves to step outside their comfort zones. They practiced being present, making eye contact, engaging in conversations without overthinking. And over time, it became natural. So if you're sitting there thinking, but I don't feel confident yet, that's okay. You don't need to feel confident to start acting like it. Because confidence isn't a feeling, it's an action. The more you show up, the more you push yourself to engage, to be present, to own your space, the more it becomes who you are. And that's when everything changes. Because when you start showing up differently, the world starts responding to you differently. People notice, they feel it. And suddenly, you're not chasing attraction anymore, it's coming to you. Most people sit around waiting for love to magically appear. They tell themselves that when the right person comes along, everything will just fall into place. But that's not how it works. Love isn't a lottery where one day you just hit the jackpot. It's something that you create, something that you cultivate. And the truth is, the people who find the most fulfilling relationships aren't the ones who are simply lucky, they're the ones who take action. They put themselves in situations where love can actually happen. Think about it. If you go to the same places, hang around the same people, do the same things, and expect different results, you're setting yourself up for frustration. Love doesn't live in your comfort zone. You have to actively put yourself in environments where you're more likely to meet like-minded people. This doesn't mean forcing yourself to go out every single night or making dating your full-time job, but it does mean being intentional. If you want to meet someone, go where people with similar values and interests gather. If you love books, don't just wait to bump into someone at the coffee shop, join a book club. If you want someone who values fitness, go to that fitness class. Love doesn't find you when you're scrolling on your phone at home, it finds you when you're engaged in your life. So many people complain about not meeting anyone, yet when you ask them what they're doing to change that, they have no answer. They say things like, well, I just haven't met the right person yet. But meeting the right person isn't a passive experience. It's an active one. The people you admire, the ones who seem to have effortless confidence and magnetic relationships, they aren't sitting at home waiting. They're out there. They're creating opportunities for connection. And it's not just about being physically present. You also have to be mentally and emotionally open. Have you ever walked into a room and seen someone who just seemed completely closed off? Maybe their body language screamed discomfort, their arms were crossed, they avoided eye contact, they had that energy of don't talk to me. You don't even have to know them to feel it. And if you're giving off that same energy, even unconsciously, you could be missing out on amazing people without even realizing it. Attraction isn't just about looks. It's about energy. If you bring an energy of warmth, curiosity, and confidence into a room, people will notice. But if you bring the energy of someone who's already convinced no one is worth their time, that's exactly what you'll get. A lot of people convince themselves that they just aren't lucky in love, that they just keep attracting the wrong people, or that relationships never work out for them. But here's the reality: if you keep attracting the same kind of people, if you keep finding yourself in the same situations, then there's a pattern. And that pattern isn't random. It's something that you are a part of, which means you have the power to change it. So what does taking action actually look like? It means saying yes more often. It means pushing yourself to engage with new people, even when it feels slightly uncomfortable. It means initiating conversations instead of waiting for someone else to do it. It means not letting one bad experience make you retreat back into isolation. The number of people who have one disappointing date and then say, well, dating sucks, I give up, is astonishing. Imagine if you treated your career like that. Imagine if after one bad interview you said, well, I guess I'm just not meant to have a job. You wouldn't do that. You'd go on another interview, you'd keep refining your approach until you found the right fit. Dating is no different. Now, taking action doesn't mean forcing things or chasing people who aren't interested. There's a huge difference between effort and desperation. Effort is about being proactive, about showing up as your best self and making real connections. Desperation is about trying to convince someone to like you or clinging to something that isn't working. You don't need to chase anyone. You just need to be in the places where connection can happen and show up in a way that invites it. Another important piece of this is understanding that taking action doesn't mean everything will happen overnight. Sometimes people say, well, I tried putting myself out there and nothing happened. But did you really? Or did you dip your toe in once and retreat the moment it felt awkward? Growth happens through consistency. Imagine if you went to the gym once, didn't see results, and then decided that fitness just wasn't for you. You wouldn't do that. You'd keep going. You'd trust the process. Finding love is the same. You don't go on one date, have one conversation, and expect everything to click instantly. You build momentum. You refine your approach. You learn. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. The reality is the people who have amazing relationships aren't special. They're not luckier than you. They're not better looking, smarter, or more deserving. They've just taken more action. They've created more opportunities for love to find them. They've stepped out of their comfort zones enough times that meeting people isn't some mythical event, it's just a part of their life. And you can do the same. So ask yourself, are you really taking action? Are you putting yourself in situations where love can happen? Are you showing up with the kind of energy that invites connection? Or are you waiting for love to knock on your door, hoping that somehow, magically, it will just appear? Because love doesn't happen to you, you create it. And the sooner you start taking action, the sooner you'll find it.